No, you sit on my lap. I'll break you. Another mic. Yes.
So my first question is for Russ. Russ, you work full-time, you have 2 kids, you manage to keep up with Lost, you have a Wizrock. How do you do this? I mean, I feel like I'm always behind on Lost, so.
I don't sleep when I drink lots of coffee. That's pretty much how I do it. No, it is a balancing act for me. Unlike a lot of other Wizrock bands who might be able to come up with an idea for a song, say, oh, I got a great song, and 3 hours later it's written, recorded, and uploaded to MySpace for everybody to hear. For me, it's like a month-long process because I have a very short window of opportunity between working and having the kids. You know, it's a labor of love for me. It really is, where I try and have to make the time to do Wizrock, but for me, it's a valuable thing to have that free time to be able to do stuff with the community, with working on other bands' projects, working on my own stuff. It doesn't allow me to do as much of these active in 3 years in the community. This is my first conference, and I'm only here for 1 day, unfortunately. It's like the 1 day that I'm here. But I try to make the most of it, and that's what Wizrock to me is. It's a very, very fun thing for me to do, and anytime I can find the time to do it, I will. And if Lost isn't on, I will. If Lost is on, no, I'm not doing it.
Amy, Steph, Lauren, Nina, you guys all go to school and you still manage to keep up with your bands, you play shows, you come to cons. How do things like your schedule and workload affect this?
For me, it's kind of like, I love this so much that I honestly put all the time that I have into it. So if I'm at school, it's kind of difficult because I can't get her or something like that. But when I do have time, my summers end up completely booked solid just because I know for the whole year that I will have time to do things and then end up with something to do for weeks. It's because I love to do it. I think it's really worth it when you have something that you love this much, even though it's kind of difficult and you have to work around other things. And yeah, I'd rather be playing Wizrock music than going to school, but it's important, so it's worth the extra work, but I would like to be able to do it more often than I already do.
It's really hard for me because my school kicks my ass most of the time. But last semester I was able to plan a Yule Ball event that a lot of people came to, and it was a rousing success, if I do say so myself. But it took a lot of my time, and so unfortunately I have to leave Lauren in the dark a lot of the time when I have papers and things to do, and that sucks. I hate it. But I'm really lucky to have a free summer this summer and be able to go on tour and do things like that. So, I mean, it's a balancing act for sure, just like anything else with life.
For me, I actually graduated last September, so now I'm teaching music on a part-time basis, like as a substitute teacher. So I kind of have the perspective from both sides. When I was in school, I did it in my free time, like on breaks from school. I was here, you know, or I was in England doing Wizrock and trying to plan shows. And now that I'm out, it is still just as difficult. I don't think it makes a difference being out in the real world. But because, I mean, several times I've had to just like, there's been a planning emergency for a gig and I've had to like get to a computer at work because everybody's freaking out and nobody knows what's going on. But like the Money Myrtle said, if it's something that you love, you will find time for it no matter what else you're doing. It's a release from the other things in your life. If you love it that much, you'll always find the time, I find.
So I'm in graduate school now, and it was actually a lot harder in undergrad to do Wizrock because I was in a really intense undergraduate program for theatrical design and production. But luckily, everything I've studied has applied to Wizrock because I was a stage manager and a set designer, so I can do I can run the entire band with basically all of my limbs tied behind my back, luckily, and then occasionally remember to play some music. So it's kind of, I can multitask like no other, and that's really what it is for me. Because I am in graduate school for arts administration now, and I also work a lot of jobs, like 2 or 3. And so it's a lot of, being at work and working on paperwork and also having MySpace up and writing a blog and everything like that. So it's a lot of multitasking, and then being able to find jobs that are willing enough to give you a week or 2 off to go on a short tour or take Friday off for a couple weekend shows.
And this question is for everybody. How much do you disclose about your involvement in the fandom to coworkers, bosses, professors, that sort of thing?
I got a good story. Okay, some of you may or may not know. Oh, yeah, maybe. I've managed a bank for about 5 years now, and I managed the same one for about 4 years, and then when I started doing Wizard Rock, I was still there, and no one knew. Like when I was going to play shows, or even going on tour, I was like, I'm going on tour to play music, and they just kind of left it at that. Then when I got my new job, almost a year ago, it's a small bank, there's only 13 branches, and I managed the main office. And the executive vice president, like the second head guy, came down one day and he said, hey, I know about your band. And I was like, cool, because I have a local band, Muggle band. I'm like, cool. He said, no, I know about your other band. The head of IT had Googled me and found it and started finding stuff and sent it out to all of this. But it's cool. I mean, now they're just supportive of me, going and doing. They know I'm going on tour this summer with the Remus Lupins. They knew I was coming here, and everybody said, "How's the Harry Potter rock going?" I'm like, "Oh, it's good." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's awesome." And so, some of my coworkers have friended me on MySpace and wanted CDs, and that's really weird. But it's fun. I feel so much more relieved. I don't have to live some crazy double life or something. So it's been a lot of fun.
Have they heard Brotherly Love yet?
Only one. She's sworn to secrecy. I maybe let go if they hear Brotherly Love.
I actually was outed 2 days ago at work. I was able to keep it quiet for about 2 years. Everybody that I work with, I worked at the same company for 9 years. They all know that I'm a musician. They know I've been in other bands. I've actually sold CDs to some of the people in the office. They've known about it. They jokingly put my band's old CDs on the hold music. And they walk by my phone and put it on hold so I could hear it playing. I'm like, oh no. But, about a month ago, actually, I set up a Twitter account for the band. And I just put it under my own personal name. Didn't think anything of it, and then the other morning at work, all of a sudden I get an email notification that my boss had subscribed to my Twitter feed. I'm always, everything that I do with the Twitter account is always very, very band related. I try and keep the band life separate from my personal life with my wife and my kids. The Creepy Crisis side of me, then there's the Ruspanoid dad and husband side of me. So the Twitter account was always about Creepy Crisis, but I said, oh boy, what has he seen on this? And I walked him in his office and I went, so you found me! And he just looked at me and said, so, what's LeakyCon, Russ? Why do you have Friday off on the calendar, Russ? What's LeakyCon all about? And I said, oh, let me tell you a story. And we went from there, and it was a very, very, very fun conversation, and we joked about it, and he said, well, let me see your MySpace. And I sent him a link to the MySpace, and he checked it out. I was listening to the music, and he's a big Beatles fan, and the first song on my MySpace page is the Beatles film from the All You Need Is Wizard Love compilation. He was like, this is incredible. How come you didn't tell anybody about this earlier? This music's really good. And I was like, okay. So, and luckily I worked for an IT company, and everybody there's very much into Star Trek and Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, and everybody has their own, hobbies and sci-fi and fantasy, things that they enjoy. It just so happens that mine is Harry Potter, so.